Hello, friends. So happy to have you here with me today at Radical Joy. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time here with me, I'm glad you are here. Each Wednesday, I'm here with you talking about things that weigh on our minds and hearts, hoping if you're dealing with something similar, we can adjust our perspectives as you listen. The more people I meet and the more places I go, the more I realize how important it is to make people aware of the fact that there is no shame in enjoying the parts of our lives that are incredible. It's time for some radical joy, and this week, the three fingers pointing back at me are for shame. Shame, shame, shame. Shame's for fools. That's right. I'm going to give you a little bit of a musical interlude to start this one right here, right now, today. Shame, the idea of it, just the way that we are taught that something in itself, just the being of it, is something that should invoke a feeling of embarrassment, of shying away, of folding in, of shrinkage. Shame. Even the word sounds just sinister. Shame. I hate it. I loathe it. I detest it. I do. I think that shame, and I'm going to say it like that a few more times while I'm speaking to you today. I think that that word is something that people were afraid to do something, and instead of facing the fact that they were afraid to do it, they decided to make it something that people shouldn't do. They shamed it. They put it in some kind of dark shadow under a rock to live with the worms and the moist earth to decay in shame. And I hate it. The thought that there is something out there that could cause this kind of cold, of absence of light, of absence of warmth, it angers me, okay? Just so we're clear. Because I think that so rarely is something that is shameful really that it's a weapon of sorts. It's a method of control. It's a way for folks who were just not quite brave enough to do the thing on their own or to say what was really on their mind or heart, that they use this tactic to make some thought, idea, action, something that no one that was fill in the blank with virtuous adjective would ever do. I hate it. I think it's useless. Pardon me. I think it is useless in noble endeavor. I think it is invaluable for folks who are trying to pull some wool. Oh, I did not realize that this was going to take this tone today, but here we are, girded with the armor of the word and the truth, as far as I know. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. I'm going to tell you why, too. Just got back from a trip from Brazil, and y'all going to hear me talk about Brazil until I get back from the next trip. Just get ready, buckle up. And I wore a very brief swimsuit every day we went to the beach. Now, am I, 6% body fat? I am not. Am I 22 years of age? I am not. Did I blend in somewhat in the uniform of the beach in Ipanema in Brazil? Hell yes, I did. Were there bodies that were in better physical shape than mine? Yes. Were there also bodies there that were in significantly worse shape than mine, wearing a similar type bathing suit? Yes. Why are you telling us all this, Bullard? Because I want to make sure that you realize that not everywhere in the world is going to treat this kind of situation with the same kind of shame that we might approach it with whenever we come to certain situations in this country. Not dogging the USA, not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is there are other places who have more important things to worry about than whether one James Edward Bullard, who happens to carry just a little extra cookie and coffee around the middle, is wearing his spandex on a beach in Brazil because he just wants to. Who's it hurt? Who's it hurt? Whose business is it? Exactly. Exactly. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's fine. I'm not pushing anybody towards anything. What I'm saying is, if I want to do it, God help you if you should try to dissuade me by employing a tactic that uses shame as its fuel. It will not end well. And I did not see this coming. I'll be honest with you. I didn't see myself getting this worked up about it. And I don't even consider myself angry. What I consider myself to be is, hey, that's not a tactic that I'm going to take lightly. Okay. I think a lot of people fall prey to it pretty easily. Why wouldn't you? We've only been raised on it our entire lives. I know I was. I was a chunky kid. And so whenever I wanted to go around wearing like shorts or t-shirts, tank tops or something like that, well, you don't want to do that because boys your size don't wear those kind of things. And why not? I grew up in Alabama. If a boys my size should be wearing less because God knows we're wrapped in all that extra meat, sweating like a hooker in church. Why the heck would I not be wearing a tank top and shorts? Good grief. Not doing it. Not doing it. Not in the year of our Lord 2024 and not from here on forward either. You know why? Because there ain't no use in it. Ain't no profit in it. Shame is just something people use whenever they're afraid to do something themselves. Ooh, I'm getting country. Hold on a second. Let me get a sip of water, by the way. Don't want anybody getting the wrong idea. Not that I got a problem with any of that either. I'm just making sure everybody knows exactly what's going on here. Shame is useless. It doesn't do anything. Okay? If you don't want to do something, just say you don't want to do something. If you're scared to do something, say you are scared to do something. Whenever you say that out loud, you got at least two choices. Number one, you don't do the thing because you're scared. Two, you do the thing because you're scared. It really just I know how that sounds. I mean, does it not make sense whenever we just look at it very, very plainly in such a manner? If you're scared of it and you don't want to do it and you don't do it, you didn't do it. Great. Okay, somebody's gonna poke fun and call you scaredy cat. Okay, whoop-de-doo, chicken butt. All right, great. Congratulations. I'm a chicken butt. Next. Like, what does it hurt? Whose business is it? Nobody's but yours. Super. Other side of the coin. You're scared to do something and you do it because you're scared. What just happened? I am terrified. My nuts are in my throat. Every hair is raised on my whole body. I am ready to vomit. Why am I still doing this? Because I'm going to be bigger on the other side. Because I conquered it. Because I did it. And I didn't die. Now, if a couple of people snicker, well, shit. I guess they just didn't they? Did it kill me? No. I came out on the other side and I felt amazing. I faced my fear. I did the thing. And when I did the thing, I realized, oh my God, I got all kind of fluffy for no good reason. Here's where shame comes into that. I'm not going to be shamed by somebody into not doing it because they thought that someone that was fill in the blank should be doing something like that. Shame and should, I hate those words. I really do. I hate them both. Shame is terrible. Should is basically the ugly step cousin to shame. Well, you shouldn't do that because good Christians don't do that. Not knocking Christians, I'm just saying what I'm saying. And now that I've said it out loud, maybe I am knocking a few Christians because I know that a lot of folks have used this in church trying to keep folks from doing things that they really wanted to do that wouldn't have hurt nobody and still didn't stray from the good book. I said what I said. I'm done with it. I'm over it. Shame is a stumbling block that we just simply do not need. We've got enough things standing in our way to keep us from achieving our goals, whether it's finances, whether it's partner, whether it is someone who just wants to see you fail and does everything they can to stand in your way. Yes, those people exist. Heck yeah, 24/7. I try to be so Pollyanna sunshine shooting out my rear end. It is laughable. It does not mean I don't think these people exist because I know they do. The difference, I do not let them slow me down for long. Shame is one of those things they use. They try to say it, well, I would never. Oh my goodness. I could never. Why would I ever want to do something like that? You know what that is? Shame. It is textbook definition. Well, if you were anything like me, you wouldn't do that either. Well, guess what, Mildred? In this specific case, I'm real happy I'm not like you because I'm going to go do this and I'm going to emerge from the other side of this thrilled that I did it. And you know what? Here's a fun little side there, Mildred. You're going to be jealous I could, that I did. Now, you'll never admit that probably. I wouldn't think you would. I don't think you'd come across with admission of that. You might. I'm always open to a surprise. I sure am. By all means, surprise me, Mildred. I'd love it. Then maybe both of us can grow a little today. Wouldn't that be a delight? But I'm not going to be held back just because you said, I mean, golly, makes me so mad I could die sometimes because I remember these things. I remember these examples just clear as day. You get tongue clucking and you get that like lip person. You know what I'm talking? You know the one I'm talking about because probably everybody and their mama had that like older aunt that just like always kind of dressed you up and down to make sure that you was walking exactly the way she thought you were supposed to. And if you didn't, whoo, you got an earful, didn't you? Yep. Yep. I ain't got no use for that. No more. Just so we're clear. Shame is useless. Worse than useless, it is counterproductive. It works against literally all the fun stuff that you want to do that maybe somebody else has never done before, or at least maybe nobody in your immediate vicinity. And that is where the fun is. Not all of it, but definitely some of it. And why in the world are you going to let somebody who is not big enough, not strong enough, or brave enough stand between you and getting that done? Are you kidding me right now? You are better than that. You are stronger than that. You are made of stars. And oh my God, electricity runs the meat puppet. And you got fat and water and crazy in that bucket that sits on top that moves the whole thing around. If that is possible in this universe, we know it is because we literally watch it happen day in and day out. Who's to say that that wild and crazy idea is not just as feasible as the fact that you are running around in a calcium framed, meat wrapped cage with a bucket of fat, electricity, and water sitting on top of it that runs the whole thing? That could have been much more eloquent, but I kind of enjoyed it. We're not here for eloquence today. Today feels a little bit more like a sledgehammer. There have been days and there have been episodes of Radical Joy where it has been much more pretty words and pleasant voice and da 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 da. That ain't today, okay? Because we're here to eradicate some bullshit. Shame ain't nothing except what we allow it to stop us from accomplishing. Should. Well, I should get this done today. Well, I should probably blah, 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 blah. Well, I would love to go to the park today with the babies, but I should probably stay in and get laundry done and make sure that I stay on top of that. Y'all should. That is literally an excuse to get out of the fun part. Oh my goodness, and I hate it. If you should, here's the thing, 9 times out of 10, whatever that is on the other side of should could probably be an and. You can take those babies to the park and still get the laundry done and still get the presentation to the boss on time. Now, can you like spend all day at one or the other? Well, probably not. It doesn't mean you got to choose every single time either. It means, hey, okay, I understand. I have things that must get done today, and I'm going to prioritize those things accordingly. Those babies need to go to the park. I want to go to the park. I want to see them on the swings. I want to make sure little Johnny isn't always scared of the slide because he ate it last time he came down the slide. These are important. And yes, you can get the laundry done. You can get the presentation to the boss. And okay, if one of them has to be like 30 minutes late, oh, tra la, life goes on. Okay. Jeez, Louise. So sick of should, and I'm even sicker of shame. It hurts me. I see so many amazing people that are in and of themselves already absolutely incredible human beings who could be even more outstanding if they could dismiss the shame from their lives. I mean, just dismiss it. I mean, out of hand, release it. Not even like actively. It's more like one of those things where I open my hand because I have been clutching to it for decades and the wind carries it away. Because here's the thing, shame ain't heavy. What shame is, you just refuse to let it go. Because on the other side of shame is consequence, isn't it? Isn't it? But it's totally fabricated, absolutely made up. 100%. And 9 times out of 10, it's not even like a tangible consequence. Like, well, I could never do that. Well, if I did it, what does that what does that mean I am, or what does that mean for me? And then if you were to even have the absolute audacity to ask that question, 9 times out of 10, you probably just get like a raised eyebrow, pursed lip, or the disappearing chin into the neck. Oh, I hate that. Like, what? Are you kidding me? The things that used to work in your childhood are no longer applicable. Those things that used to absolutely terrorize us when we were knee high to a teaspoon are no longer the driving force. Okay, and it cracks me up that I need to be reminded of this. I promise you, I'm talking to me, just so we are crystal clear. I am not going to let those kind of things keep me from living the full life I have every intention of living. It's funny too, because I remember distinctly one of the first journals I ever had as a kid. I remember writing down some life goals in that, and one of those goals was to be able to confidently wear a Speedo on the beach. I was a chunky kid. I was a fat kid, and I was reminded of it frequently by very insensitive people who were supposed to be some of the people who were protecting me. And, it's just one of those things. You're like, well, that's the way it was. They were trying to protect me from, if you can be ugly about it here, maybe you won't have to deal with this later. Because I will teach a harsh enough lesson here so that it will change your trajectory so you don't have to deal with it from strangers. Is that too vague? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Here it is. I love my dad. I do. Now, we don't agree on a whole lot of stuff, and I mean a whole lot of stuff. A lot of people think that we are very, very similar, and for that, in many respects, I'm grateful. My father was very unkind to me as a heavy child, okay? He did it in order to break me of bad eating habits so that I would grow up into a more attractive young man in hopes of finding a partner. That was how it was described to me after the fact, but I will never forget the day that my father grabbed the inside of my thigh whenever I was a very chubby youngster. I don't even know how old I was. I'm thinking I was probably wasn't even double digits yet. And he said something to me. He said that there's no little girl in the world that wants to be with somebody like this or something similar. I'll be honest. I cannot remember the exact words of it. The shame I have carried for so long from that one encounter, I can still see the picture. I can't hear the words exactly. I can see the look on his face. I can feel his hands on that fat inner thigh. And I'm here to tell you, it instilled a very deep gash of shame into how I saw myself as a person, as a man, and as a partner. And I have worked to make sure that that moment is drowned out by me being very loving and affectionate and proud of the body I get to inhabit now. Yeah, I carry a little extra. I love baked goods, and I'll be dadgum if I'm going to pass a cup of coffee, okay? I drink it black, but very rarely is it just a cup of coffee. Fine. That is what it is. I work out hard. I try to make sure the rest of me is swole up around that little squish in the middle so it doesn't look as chubby. I will not be shamed into hating the temple in which I live. I won't do it. And I please understand, I'm not telling this story to make my father look any sort of way. I'm not telling this story to garner any kind of pity or any of that stuff. I'm saying that I'm coming to you in a very candid, naked moment to say that I promise you, we all deal with something like this. We've almost all had someone in our lives to point out these things to us that were not necessarily flaws, but were outside the norm. And a way to control that or to try to bring it back or force it back into where it needed to be was through shame. And I refuse to give that any more power for the rest of my life. If I want to wear a thong on the beach and let my rear end hang out, well, as long as the law's not going to cart me off, well, by God, I guess I'm going to do it. I will go ahead and let you know now, that is not necessarily a goal of mine. I'm fine with just a Speedo. Totally fine with just a Speedo. It's one of those things where I just want to make sure that everyone knows that the only thing shame is doing is holding you back from whatever it is that you may want to do. It's useless. It is an old tool in a rusty old box. It is obsolete. What once served a purpose to keep someone in line is now. You remember that story they used to tell about how they would tie up the horse? They would tie the horse to the post, and the horse, at first would fight and fight and fight, but he couldn't get away because he was tied to the post. And eventually, it just got to the point where he quit fighting, and he quit fighting, but they'd still tie him to the post. And eventually, all they did was just like drape the rope over the post. He wasn't tied. He could have left at any moment. He just didn't, because he believed that because of his proximity to the post and the way the rope was laid, that he just took it for granted that he couldn't leave, whenever it was always a possibility. Now, I realize that was after the fact. There was a time whenever he could not leave. And I think those were the years where shame was employed to keep you in a very specific way, a very specific pattern, a way of life, any of those kind of things. Once you got to a point where you didn't need the shame anymore because it just kept you on the rails. And maybe there's stuff you want to be doing, but you're not, because you feel that shame that was placed there however long ago. Shoot, y'all, let that go. Do everything you can to let that go. It ain't easy. Trust me. Man, I felt self-conscious. I'm not going to lie to you. I had, probably 4 or 5 of them with me, and I felt self-conscious. I did, but it's one of those things like, you know what? Do it. Go. Because that's a wonderful thing about Brazil. People, there's all kind of bodies out on the beach in Brazil, and man, there's some women out there. Lord have mercy. That is what I call some abundance, okay? And they are wearing the teeniest bathing suits you have ever seen, and they love it, and everybody else loves it. And what you may see as something that brings you some sort of self-consciousness may be somebody else's exact flavor of the week. They're like, that right there, that's the one. Heck yeah. This one right here looks like he works out, but he wouldn't say no to a snack. Perfect. Whatever it is that's keeping you from doing things like that, I want you to explore it. I'm exploring it. I journal about it. Hell, I walk the walk. I put those teenies on and I go out to the beach in Brazil. Yes. And if you're going to do that, please make sure you wear SPF 70 at least, and rent an umbrella while you're on the beach. Otherwise, that sun will absolutely try to kill you. Shame's useless. And should, just like I said earlier, that's that ugly step cousin, just the worst. Golly, it's like one of them didn't want to get caught by their mama, So they told the other one, and the other one did the dirty work. So Shane could keep his hands clean, but the job still got done with a should. See what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. They're two bullets in the same gun, friends. And I want to make sure you can slide them out, get them out of the chamber, get do it. I just, it's not easy. It's work. It took work to put it in there. It's going to take work to get it out, but that's fine because it's worth it. Like everything else in the world is. Like, it's so much more worthwhile to work for something like that, to earn it, because it was put there, and it's like in your operating system. It's literally like programmed into your DNA in some of us. I know it is in mine. And every time I balk it, I get that weird, creepy, like, we call it a possum running over your grave. It just gives me the willies, and I hate it. I continue to grow because I fight it. And I want you to too, because I want you to feel that. Everybody deserves a chance to feel amazing about whatever it is they wanted to do, but it always waited on this side of the paywall, you know? And the only thing that you got to pay to cross it is just stop listening to all that bullshit somebody dumped into you however many years ago. Whether it be a parent or a relative or a partner or whatever. I'm like, does it matter? Like, seriously, like, honest to goodness, like, I know that's such a simple question. Does it matter? Does it? Does that person's opinion from however long ago still impress me enough to influence my decision today? Oh, well, when you phrase it like that, exactly. Exactly. No. No. I want you to go out there and live. Oh my God. Jeez. And for some it may not be anything like, that was my example. What's your example? Think about it. Ponder it. Wonder why you hadn't done something like that. Like going skydiving. Oh my God, I love skydiving. It was great. I went skydiving in Vegas before I lived in Vegas. My buddy had just finished a show where he had to play Elvis. So I went skydiving with Elvis in Vegas. It was amazing. It was fantastic. People were terrified for me. They were like, "Oh my God, are you sure?" It's like, sure. No shame in that. That wasn't a shame kind of situation. It was just one of those things where people were scared. It's like, all right, fine. Um, There was a little bit of shame in me working on cruise ships. That was kind of enjoyable because I remember it's like, "Oh, we love it whenever you're home. Oh, we sure would love to have you around more. Oh my goodness, what did it mean? We so enjoyed having you in church today. Wonderful, great. Please understand my job that I love and is helping me pay off my school loans and helping me buy my first house and putting money away for my future is not in Blount County, Alabama. And that's not me trying to hurt anybody's feelings. That's me just literally telling folks the truth about my life and the way that I live it. And the things that I had to deal with on that, I was like, y'all, I don't know what to tell you. I'm making more doing things I've always wanted to do somewhere else. I'm not going to give that up to come back here just for the sake of being here. And I'm not going to be shamed into staying. Now, were they doing that on purpose? I don't think so. I don't think any of that was malicious. It's just they couldn't wrap their head around why anybody would want to leave this idyllic little moment that we were all sharing. It's like, well, okay, that's fine. It's not my job to help you understand that. I would love to help you understand that, but if you don't, I'm still getting on that plane and going to that boat and staying on there and having an incredible time singing, seeing the world, getting paid, and all of that. And it's interesting. If people can't understand it, they don't want you doing it either. If people can't see themselves doing it, sometimes they'll try to dissuade you from doing it. And I'm here to tell you that's useless. That is and it's their problem. It ain't none of yours. If they can't understand it, if they don't understand why you would want to do it, any of those kind of things, it's funny to me to watch people get vocal about things like that. It's like, well, I could never. So great, don't. Ooh, they don't like that either. P.S. But I'm never being smart mouth about it. People don't understand that whenever they say something like that, it's like, okay, then don't. Nobody here's asking you. This is not an invitation. I'm telling you, I am going to do it. Now, if I mention something like that and somebody says, oh my God, that sounds like fun, I would love to go with you. If I think they're going to be fun, hey, load up. Let's do it. There's always room. It's just interesting to me to watch the differing ways people interact with this. And I just want to tell you, approaching it with shame is the incorrect answer. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you do want to do it, but you're a little scared, try to do it. If you want to do it and somebody tells you that you shouldn't do them, you tell them to go piss up a rope and you go dang do it. Yeah. I love the time we get to spend together. I didn't realize this is where we were going today. Golly bum, Carrie's going to have to turn the volume down on this whole stinking episode. This has been so fun. I love this. I love that we get a chance. I love that this is so different from a lot of the other stuff I've tried to do. My country's coming out. My twang is here. I'm easily 10 decibels louder than I usually am. And I loved it. Variety is the spice of life, and congratulations. You just got a whole bunch of cumin all up in this business. All right? You're welcome. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Radical Joy. If this is your first episode, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I promise you, they will have a similar feel and a different tone for the most part. If this is not your first episode, welcome back. I hope you've enjoyed this different flavor that we brought you today. I did not anticipate it, but I sure have enjoyed it, and I'm glad you were here to be a part of it. If you're the kind of person who loves to leave a review, wonderful. We would love to have it. Leave your 5-star review on whatever platform where you're listening. Take a screenshot, send it to us, and we'll send you a sticker. It's hot pink. It's got my face on it. I'm enjoying a cup of coffee. You can put it on water bottles, journals, computers, whatever it is you want to stick a sticker on. You're welcome to do it. Just knock yourself out. We just want to make sure that you know how grateful we are that you are listening, that you are reviewing, that you're sharing with your friends or putting it on your social media. All these things are so important for the success of a podcast. So thank you for doing those things for us here and for me and for Radical Joy and CLW Studios. As always, friends, I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining us. Love y'all.
The bottom line is, use your words, friends. Thank you for joining us again in this moment of radical joy. If this is your first time, we're so happy you're here. Take a moment to check out our archive. See if there's something else that fires you up, rekindles the joy in you. And hey, spread the word if you enjoyed it. We welcome reviews and messages. Let me know what you want to talk about. I rarely run out of things to say. So if there's something on your mind or heart, I want to hear from you. Don't forget, there is no shame in joy. I am not a therapist or a medical professional. If you're experiencing a mental health emergency, please call 911. This content and other content produced by CLW Studios and affiliated partners is not therapy, and nothing in this content indicates a therapeutic relationship. Any opinions of guests on this podcast are their own and do not represent the opinions of James or CLW Studios. Please consult with your therapist or seek one in your area if you're experiencing mental health symptoms. Anything in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Learn more about James and CLW Studios. Follow the link in the show notes. Don't forget to leave a review, and hey, we'll send you a sticker. Just send a screenshot and let us know where you want it sent. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday for another dose of radical joy. Love y'all.